I think we have some dogs that are going to be barking tonight. I've got a few best bets in the college basketball slate and an NBA player prop on the way that just looks a little bit too low. Let's see what we're cooking up today. This is the free three. Let's get into it and let's have a day.
I also love your YouTube videos. I watched them while I was gone. That was fire.
But getting paid because yesterday we had a full sweep. Mike going under, that was just icing on the cake. Why are we going to go in such a weak AFC South? Unless we have the NBA Blowout Association.
Bang! Knicks take a 1-point lead with 13.
When you hear the sirens, you know what that means.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
What is up, my people? It is your boy Noble Living back with another DYF Bets video where I'm breaking down my favorite picks and plays of the day as we just try to get to the bag together and get to that money. It's been a beautiful several days that we've had here on the channel, and yesterday we were bound for a little bit of regression, and it happened. We went 1-2 on the channel yesterday, so not a winning day. It ended our streak of like 3-4 straight winning days, but it is okay because we've still been crushing it over here. You can look right here. Over the last 7 days, we're up over $1,000, 35% hit rate, or 35% return on investment, I should say, at a 65% hit rate and a 24-13 record. That's including what we did yesterday. Yesterday here on the channel, it wasn't our best day. And you know what? I have to be honest. The Dayton Flyers, they're canceled at this point. I don't know what else to do. I bet on them, they lose. I don't bet on them, they win. I'm just not even touching them anymore, right? We lose on Dayton -1.5. We get that. That was cooked. Minnesota and Michigan State. I told y'all in the analysis, if we can get some help from Minnesota, we're going to hit this number. Well, this lands at what, 125? We needed 140. Minnesota scored 16 points in the first half. In a 20-minute first half, they scored 16 points. If they literally give us 10 more points, it's a whole different type of ball game here. And both teams scored 60, 70 points in the second half combined. We just need a little bit more in the first half. Bad read here, tough loss. But our bankroll builder, those things have been going crazy here on the channel. So if you guys have been making money with our plus 100 parlays, I hope you guys have. This San Diego State game late night got a little bit of a sweat. They were down by like 15 at halftime, but they were able to pull it out. Notre Dame hit a late night three to get, like, sometimes we're going to sweat it out. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit of a sweat for us to get these bankroll builders, but they've been cashing in for us. You can see bankroll builder here. Let me see if I could scroll a little bit further out here to see well, it's not letting me load any more picks, so maybe I'm too zoomed in. I was trying to see like how we've been doing on our bankroll builders here on the channel, because we've been cashing. Okay, yeah, you can see. Let's see here. Let me zoom in a little bit. We got a 3-team bankroll builder that we hit the day before. I guess when I zoom in too much, it messes up the scrolling factor here. But anyway, you guys see what we've been doing here on the channel with the bankroll builders. They've been cashing in for us. They've been doing well. So on today's video, my goal is to keep the momentum here going on the channel. As you can see, I'm still traveling. We're not in our same usual background, but it does not mean that we can't cook up winners. I have 2 underdogs, 2+ value dogs today in college basketball. You guys know I love favorites. And for me to take dogs, well, I mean, that tells you what type of card we have today. And then I also have 1 NBA player prop on the way for you guys in this video. And also, I'm going to give you guys a bonus bet at the very end. Yes, our bankroll builder will be our bonus bet for today. So make sure you guys stay till the very end of the video. And if you have not hit that subscribe button, if you have not hit that like button, please do so. We've been growing on the channel here. We're almost at a 1,500 subscribers. We've been getting more subscribers. So please help us get to 1,500. We'd greatly appreciate it. I thank you for all the love, support that you guys continue to show. And I've got my giveaway winner for our sweep that we had a few days ago. I finally got my boy's Venmo account. I'm going to Venmo that over to you, bro. I don't want to pull it up here on stream, so this way, you know, people can't see it. But I got you inside my Twitter DMs. I'm going to send that out, and we'll post that tomorrow. All right, my man? Be on the lookout for the bread on that. All right? So let's dive into the winners for today. College basketball slate. Pretty good card that we have. I think it's a little bit of a scary card. I think there can be some things that happen tonight which can go different ways, which is why I'm leaning on a few underdogs today. So let's dive into these picks and let's get into it. First best bet of the day, right? We're going to take a look at this board. You can see we have a few good games here on the college basketball slate. We've got this Sanford-Furman game and the SoCon. I'm really interested to see how that game goes. We've got a good game between ETSU and UNCG. That's another SoCon. walk-on game, Houston, West Virginia, after Houston came back against Texas in double overtime on the road against a very banged-up West Virginia team, but they're like a roller coaster. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. So a lot of good games that we have on deck. The first game that I'm going to take a look at is a team that we bet on several times this season, and they've been cashing in very well for us. They're one of the best teams in all of college basketball in covering the spread, actually. And today they're an underdog, and we're going to go to the Wisconsin Badgers on the road today against the Maryland Terrapins. And for me, I'm going to take Wisconsin here, plus 5.5. Now, I know that this is not one of those, bets where people are like, hold on, Noble, like, why would you be taking Wisconsin? There's a reason why they're the underdogs. There's a reason why they're on the road. Maryland's a tough place to play. They're a very young squad. I get that. But look at the numbers for Wisconsin this year against the spread. They're 12-7-1 against the number. But what I like even more, 6-1 on the road, 5-1 as an underdog. All those situations lean towards what we have today. An underdog on the road and the team that covers more. At home this year, Maryland's only 8-7 against the number and 8-10 as a favorite. That doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence, in all honesty. In the last 5 matchups, you can see here that Wisconsin is 4-1 overall, 4-1 against the spread. I like that as well. So when you scroll down to some of the recent games for Wisconsin, Nebraska, they were laying 7.5 points. They won that game by 18. Against UCLA on the road, they lost the game by 2, but they were laying 4 points, so they covered the number. Against USC, they were down underdogs by 1.5 points on the road. They won that game by 15. Against Ohio State, that was a tough loss at home. I was not expecting that loss to happen, but Ohio State played really well in that game. And then Minnesota, 13-point favorites. They win that game. They cover the spread here by like 21 points. That's what you get from Wisconsin. They've covered in 4 of the last 5 games, and I think they've covered in 8 of the last 10 as well, which is what I really love to see. Meanwhile, for Maryland, you can see they've been winning games, winning 4 of the last 5, but against the number, they're only 1 for their last 4. That is a little bit concerning. Against Indiana on the road, tough place to play. Barely squeaked out the win, but weren't able to cover that 2.5-point spread. Meanwhile, against Illinois, I was not expecting them to win that game by 21 points. A great win for them, especially considering they were 6-point underdogs. Plus 227 on the money line. That's a great day. Against Nebraska, they were not 10-point favorites at home. They only won by 3. Against Northwestern, which is a team that we're going to talk about here a little bit today, they shouldn't have lost this game, and they lost as 2-point favorites on the road. And then you can see against Minnesota, 16-point favorites, only won that game by 8 points. So Maryland is handling business. They're winning games, but they're not covering the spread. And now that we get 5.5, 6 points with a team like Wisconsin, I'm willing to lay that. If you look at Wisconsin's game log, as we go to KenPom here, you can see, look at this record for them. 16-4, 17th on KenPom, 8th in offensive efficiency, 30th in effective field goal percentage, but this is the number that I love right here. Number 1 in free throw percentage. When you have a close game, in between the numbers, 2.5 points, 3 points, 4 points, it comes down to free throw shooting a lot of times at the end of the game. And what side do I want to be on? I want to be on the team that's ranked number 1 in college basketball and free throw percentage, because they're going to hit their free throws. They're going to hit their free throws late. You can see KenPom has a 3-point loss for Wisconsin. That covers the 5.5-point number. I'm not overthinking it. I know Maryland's a tough place to play, but if you look at the schedule for Wisconsin, they have back-to-back road games before they have to go back home against Indiana, and they should be able to beat this Northwestern squad here. So I just like this situational spot for them. They've won games on the road in the past. They have struggled on the road, as you can see, lost to Marquette, lost to Illinois, lost to UCLA, but they might lose today. But 5.5 points is just a little bit too much. We're going to lock this in. Wisconsin on the spread, 5.5 points as our first best bet of the day. So let me zoom out here real quickly and let us take them on the spread here. I don't know why it's doing this, why it's like so spread out, but it's whatever. It's probably because I'm just like on my laptop, but whatever. 5.5-point spread. We got that cooked in as our first best bet of the day. Second best bet of the day is also going to be in the college basketball slate here. You guys know I love the college basketball. It's just my thing. It's easier to read. They play actually real basketball instead of the BS that we get in the NBA. And for me, one of the games that I really like is 2 NBA players that are going to go to the league next year against a team that's been struggling. And you might know who I'm talking about. That's right. I'm talking about the Rutgers Scarlet Knights here on the road against the Northwestern Wildcats. 10-10 on the year for Rutgers, and it's not been the season that a lot of people have expected from Rutgers. I told you guys at the beginning of the season, if you've been tapped into the stream, if you've been a frequent subscriber of the videos or viewer of the videos, that Rutgers is going to be a team that is going to be a sweat. And I'm talking about a sweat on the bubble. And the reason why that is because Rutgers is a team that has the talent on paper, but they don't have like all the different figures that you need to make a championship caliber team. They have Ace Bailey, which is going to be a draft lottery pick. You have Dylan Harper, who probably is going to be the number 1 or the number 2 pick. So 2 excellent individual players, but some of the supporting cast members is where they kind of fall off significantly, which has led to their struggles throughout the year. If we scroll down here, Rutgers on the year is only 8-12 against the number. That makes sense because they're typically getting a lot of juice lines because they're a popular team. As an underdog, they're 5-5 against the number. I like that a little bit better, but they've struggled away from home, only 2-5 against the number. Meanwhile, Northwestern this year, 11-8 against the number, which is solid, 6-5 at home, and 6-4 as a favorite. But this is the thing about Northwestern. They've struggled very, very heavily to guard perimeter offensive players. So you remember, they had Boo Buie last year, one of their best players who's been in the program for years, right? When they play isolation-heavy teams, they struggle. Let's go look real quickly at Northwestern here and some of their recent game logs, and we can kind of see some of the players that they've played against, right? Illinois, an isolation, that team that scores in isolation, they lost. Michigan, they lost. Purdue, they lost. Another isolation team that moves the ball around a lot. Dayton, they lost. Iowa, they lost. So when they face teams that are aggressive offensively, that can score a lot of points, that is where they struggle. They beat Indiana, which is not the best offensive team. They beat Maryland, which is not the best offensive team. They beat DePaul, right? But it's the losses against Penn State, a very strong three-point shooting team. You can see they lost. Purdue, same thing. Michigan State, same thing. Michigan, a team that runs and guns, shoots a ton of threes, same thing. So now that they're facing a team in Rutgers that they look to just do 2 things. Play isolation one-on-one ball with Ace Bailey, Dylan Harper, driving kick if the defense collapses, and then they crash the offensive glass. That's the 2 things that they do. And Northwestern, as you can see here, offensive rebounding efficiency on the defensive end, it's not the best. Okay, I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not the best. So that's the first thing that I take a look at. And then the second thing I look at is this: effective field goal percentage, 216th on the offensive side. Basically low 200 numbers for 2-point and 3-point percentage. That is the concern for me in this game. You have to stop guys who can literally put 30, 40 points on your head, and you have to be able to score unless your defense keeps you in the game, which they should, 34th in defensive efficiency, but I just don't see it happening. I'm taking Rutgers plus 7.5 here. Just way too many points that we're getting. You can see KenPom has this as a 6-point win for Northwestern. So I think Northwestern can pull out the win at home, but I think Rutgers can win this game outright. 66 in offensive efficiency, 89th in tempo and pace, 44 in turnover percentage, so they don't turn over the ball a lot. And you can see 165th in offensive rebounding percentage, so they tack the glass hard. That's what I'm really looking for in this game. Obviously, after losing back-to-back games against Penn State, Michigan State, this would be a great bounce-back win spot for Rutgers. But I don't know, man. Rutgers is just going to struggle this season because they have a problem closing out games, right? If you look at 83-82, 81-77, 75-63, and that game was a lot closer than people think. 80-72, this game was close too. 79-77. So when it gets down to like the last few possessions, that's when things start falling apart for Rutgers. But the beautiful thing with this number at 7.5, it's not necessarily like a 1-possession game type number. So for me, I'm going to take 7. You can see here we get at 7 at minus 112. I would take 7.5 to like minus 125 just to get that hookage. But for me, let's just take this for the sake of the channel at plus 7. But I would take plus 7.5. Rutgers is our second best bet of the day. This is, like I said, Northwestern just struggles to guard isolation-heavy teams, and that's just because of the lack of the perimeter defense that they have. So let's lock that in. All right, 2 best bets down for the day. So far, we've got Wisconsin at plus 5.5. We got Rutgers at plus 7. 2 dogs. Our third and final pick is going to come in the NBA. It's going to come in the association. It's going to be a player prop. You guys know I love the NBA player props. And one guy, if you know the channel, if you're not new to this, if you're true to this, then you know there's a guy that I always like to take. And when the line looks too low, we smash the spot. And that is where we scroll down here to the Celtics and the Bulls. As you can see, the Celtics 32-15 on the year. Meanwhile, the Bulls are 20-27. Celtics are 15-point home favorites after they lost last game on the road. Or was it on the road? Yeah. No, they're at home to Houston. Remember, Amon Thompson hit that game-winning floater right there. Dylan the crazy guy, whatever his name is, Dylan something, he had 10 3-pointers in that game. Boston has to figure some stuff out. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA against the number. As you can see here, 18-27 against the number, 18-16 at home. They're not good at covering the spread, in all honesty. And I heard another stat that following a win, they're even worse. They're like 5 and something against the number after a win. Well, they didn't win last game, so I'm not worried about the spread. But what I am looking at here is a high-scoring affair, a total in 230s, against a Bulls team that struggles against guarding big men. So what we're going to look at here is Mr. Jayson Tatum over 8.5 rebounds. You guys probably didn't know that one was coming, right? Let's go to Doink Sports real quickly, and let's take a look at this ball game between these two squads. Now, the Boston Celtics, you guys know Jayson Tatum is a guy that I love to take, and the reason why I love to take him is because they don't really have a true center, right? Porzingis is like their center, but you know he's more of like a stretch big. He's not really trying to defend too much or try to crash the glass. Over the last 10 games, Tatum is averaging 8 rebounds per game, so hovering right around this number. But I love the fact that he's gone under this number in 4 of the last 5 games. That means that we should get a little bit of regression, should get a little bit of value here, right? 19 points, 24 points, 16 points, 24 points. He's been struggling with his shot, in all honesty. You can look at the percentages here. 5 of 14, 8 of 22, 5 for 12, 9 for 22, 9 for 20, 22, 7 for 21. When you're struggling with your shot as a basketball player, one of the best ways for you to get into a rhythm is not only getting to the free throw line, but it's also getting easy putbacks, getting layups, getting rebounds that you can push out in transition, that you can be able to do a quick and one or a quick offensive rebound. And I think that's where Tatum is going to get the value today. Against the Chicago Bulls, he's faced them 3 times this year. He's had 15 rebounds, 10 rebounds, and 14 rebounds in about 35, 36 minutes of play. He's gone over this number in 5 of the 10 games that he's played against the Bulls in his career, averaging about 9.5 assists. Can't be too mad at that. Now, when we look at the defensive numbers for the Bulls against starting small forwards, you can see they've only had one guy go over this number in 1 of the last 10 games. But none of these small power forwards are real rebounding power forwards. Not Kuzma, not Michael Porter Jr. here, not Gary Payton II, not Derrick Jones, not Kamara, not Miles Bridges. Like, none of these guys are real glass cleaning type of big men. Keep in mind for the Celtics that Jayson Tatum is their number 1 rebounder. So with a high total at the 230s, and then if you go against Boston, now you can start seeing what happens. Even Horford last year had 8 rebounds against this team, right? So when you dive into the numbers a little bit deeper, you can kind of see the value here from the perspective of like Bulls. They struggle against this strong caliber opponent, and then when they go with the small ball that the Celtics play, leads to more opportunities, and the Bulls like to play fast as well, which should lead to more possessions. If we go here to NBA defensive against rebounding, okay? The Bulls give the most rebounds per game, or I should say the second most rebounds per game to power forwards over this season. And if we kind of do like last 15 games or so, you can see their top 4. If we do the last 30 games, you can see their top 2. So they give up rebounds to power forwards to big men. Don't overthink it. It's a smash spot. I actually saw somebody on Twitter talking about this play earlier. That's what really brought it to my attention. So I just love the situation. I love the fact that Tatum's hit it consistently against them. Just way too low of a number. I would sprinkle a little bit on Tatum for a double-double as well. But over 8.5 rebounds, minus 125 odds, that's not too bad. So 3 best bets on today's card, guys. We've got Jayson Tatum over 8.5 rebounds. We've got Rutgers at plus 7.5 or plus 7. And then we've got Wisconsin at plus 5.5. Those 3 best bets should lock us in. We should be able to have a great day for that. But I know what you're looking for. You're looking for our bankroll builder of the day. Those things have been cashing. Those things have been printing. And I have actually 2 that I really like. I'm going to break them up into 2 different ones. But when I really think about it, I think you can kind of combine it into one big one if you want to, okay? The bankroll builder of the day. So if we look at some of the teams that are playing, our base for our bankroll builder today is well, you can see first, we have the time slots, 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m. So I'm going to try to do it off of 2 time slots, all right? 2 time slots that we're going to be doing. That's 6 p.m. and a late night. Again, you can combine them if you just want one bankroll builder. The first one, Houston on the money line against West Virginia. West Virginia's been too inconsistent. I don't see them scoring enough points to keep up with Houston. Do I think they can cover the 9.5, 10-point spread? I do at home, but I just don't see them winning the game. We're taking Houston here. We're also going to add App State against Old Dominion. Now, App State's not a team that we've taken too many times this year, but Old Dominion is one of those fade teams. App State at home, let's pull them up real quickly, is one of the teams that is expected to win their conference. So when you're expected to win your conference in some of the smaller conferences like the Sun Belt, then that means that you should be winning the majority of your games, like App State has done. You can see they're 6-3 in the year. They've won literally 6 of their last 7 games. The only loss coming to Arkansas State on the road, which is another team that's probably going to win the Sun Belt. If we look at the Sun Belt Conference right here, App State's projected to finish 3rd, right behind Troy, right behind Arkansas State, the team that they just lost to. So not too bad. 52nd in defensive efficiency. That is what I'm looking for. 14th in effective field goal percentage. To have those numbers as a mid-major is absolutely crazy, especially in the Sun Belt Conference. And now they face an Old Dominion team that you can see is ranked damn near 300th on KenPom. KenPom has this as a 13-point win for them. And every time they stepped up in class, Old Dominion, James Madison, George Southern, App State, they've lost. This was an impressive win against South Alabama, I'm not going to lie, in overtime. But besides that, every other time they played, they've lost. Tough spot for them on the road against a very good App State team. I'm taking App State on the money line. So App State on the money line, Houston on the money line, those two together, that gets us to about 229. So not doing nothing just yet. Let's add one more team in here real quickly. So the next team that I want to add in here, so we can get to basically our 3-4 team plus 100 lay here, is you can add Wofford if you want to against VMI. You can add Chattanooga against Western Carolina. I would add that. You can add FAU. But I'm going to take a look at the Temple Owls. And you can see these 3 teams get us to minus 133. Temple is at home against Charlotte today. And Temple is one of those teams that defends their home court. Let's look at their game log real quick. Home. What does that? All green gobs. They've won every single home game that they've played this season. All of their losses have come on the road. And guess where they're playing today? At home. You don't think the city of Philadelphia is hype right now for some sports? I mean, come on now. We're just celebrating a Super Bowl appearance, and now you have the ability to win a home game in front of a raucous crowd. It should be a great atmosphere. I don't think they're playing at Wells Fargo, but it should still be a great time. And then I actually saw this morning that one of the Temple students, an 18-year-old, who was celebrating the Super Bowl champion or appearance, he was hanging off of a flagpole or something off of one of the traffic lights, and he slipped and fell. He fell 40 feet, and from the fall, he actually suffered such serious injuries that he died. So one of the Temple students died this past weekend from celebrating the Eagles. And I think that might be just a little bit of extra motivation for this team. They may do a moment of silence for him before the game, acknowledge him. I mean, it's just very sad to hear, just a fan just celebrating his team, his passion, and he falls and he gets hurt and he ends up dying. But I think that's just like another kind of motivation for this team and for some of the fans. But this Charlotte team is just not very good. You can see here, they've only won one conference game. That came at home in their last game against South Florida. Now they have to travel at home in the situational spot that I just mentioned against a very tough team to play at home. I'm taking Temple Owls at home on the money line. Those 3 teams get you to minus 133. The 4th team that you're going to throw in here to get you to plus 100 is, you know what it is, the Auburn Tigers. That gets you to minus 106 right here. The odds value just be moving crazy from the time where I put it and then the time when I actually recorded this video. That's crazy. So you get to minus 106 right here. Those 4 teams right there can get you in a good position. Now I'm going to add a few other teams here, and I'm going to show you how we're going to split it up, okay? You can add Florida State. I like Florida State. And you can add Bradley as well, right? You can add Bradley as well. But what we're going to do for the sake of the 2 parlays that we're going to cook up here, and I'm going to really cook up 2 different ones here. So for the sake of the parlay that we're cooking up here, let me take out Florida State real quickly. Let me take out Bradley real quickly. So that we're going to take those 3 teams at minus 106 to win 1 unit, okay? Those 4 teams. So real quickly, just so you guys can see it again, Houston, App State, Temple, Auburn, okay? Our second one, which is gonna include like 6 p.m. game, but it's really more of a late night, a late night bankroll builder. Clean this up real quick. Bro, why does it keep doing that? I try to zoom in enough so this way you guys can see it on the screen. I've been realizing that like when I share the screen, it's a little bit small, but then also like when I'm trying to, like if I'm not on my monitors, this shit becomes hell. All right, let's look real quickly here of the second bankroll builder that we're gonna do real quick. We're gonna do Florida State at home against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's just not a good team. Okay, guys, they're basically auto fade for us at this point. I just don't know. That makes sense. It's because of the size of this thing. Okay, let's go Florida State here. Let's go Bradley. Bradley has been consistent for us. We've been taking Bradley. If you guys don't know a lot about Bradley, Bradley is one of the teams that should be able to win their conference in the Missouri Valley very easily. They're 9-1 in conference. I expect them to run the table, win every single game that they play for the most part. They lost to Drake, which is a tough loss, but it's Drake, another team that's competing. You see Bradley right here at the top of the conference. Drake's number 2. So those are the only 2 really teams that they should lose to. I'm not taking Drake today because they're playing Northern Iowa, and if you saw right here, Northern Iowa is the team that's supposed to basically finish 3rd. So I don't want to stay off of that. That's a trap game to me. So we're going to go Bradley, we're going to go Florida State, and then you can do SMU. I'm not opposed to SMU, but you can do Ole Miss as well against Texas, but Texas is coming off a great win. I'm not touching them. That could be a dangerous spot. And we're going to do Boise State here. Those 3 teams get you to -115. If you want to throw in Auburn again for to double up, or you want to throw in UConn, I'm not opposed to UConn at home against DePaul. But if you want to double up with Auburn again, you definitely can. But let's not double up with the same team. Let's not do that. So let's just go UConn here for +100 here. All right. So basically, the 4 teams that we've gone with in the second leg with the second bankroll builder is Florida State. Here we go. Florida State, Bradley, Boise State, and UConn. You don't need me to explain UConn to you. They're such huge favorites, and DePaul is DePaul. They suck. They've won one given conference. Now, Nevada is a team that's had high expectations coming to the season, but they're just not good. And they've led by Steve Alford, a coach who likes to do his things his way, which is shoot a ton of threes. Remember, he used to be the former coach at UCLA, I think. And was it UCLA or USC? Yeah, UCLA. And you can see he has some success when he was at New Mexico and earlier his UCLA days. But besides that, I mean, he just really wasn't he's just one of those coaches. He's like great mediocre. They shoot a ton of threes, Nevada. You can see they're 11-9 in conference on the year, but they're 3-6 in conference. You started off conference 0-4, losing to Wyoming here. Terrible loss. Having to go into overtime to beat Fresno State. And now you can see Utah State, San Diego State. Now they lost both of those. They lost this game at home. They got smacked by Utah State on the road. Now they have to face a Boise State team that's very good. The Mountain West Conference is tough this year. You can see that Boise State's 5-4 on the year. They drop back-to-back games on the road in conference. I like that spot for them. Now they come home. They try to get a bounce-back spot before they take on Fresno State, before they have to go on the road against the UNLV. These are the spots that I look for in conference. I look for like 2 road losses. Now you can get 2 home wins before you have to go back on the road and face a tough team like they have to do in UNLV. If you look at the Mountain West Conference projected standings, Boise State's right here behind San Diego State, Colorado State, Utah State, New Mexico. Nevada is all the way down here at the bottom. Nevada is just not a good team. I don't like them in this spot. I'm taking Boise State at home. So those 3 teams will get you tucked in. That is the 4 best, or 5 plays, I should say, that we're going with today's card. Rutgers, Jayson Tatum, the +100 parlay here, Wisconsin, and then this -106 parlay here. If you want to combine these guys into one big hardwood haymaker, you can do that. I don't think you're going to get any more than like +350, +400 odd value, in all honesty, unless you take Auburn first half or UConn first half. You can play around some of that. But those are the 8 games that I like from a money line perspective to just handle your business, get it done. We're going to split it up a little bit. All right. That's what we're going with on the free 3 today. If you want a bonus bet, I might add some throughout the day. So make sure you guys are following us at Noble Living on Action Network, on Instagram, on Twitter, on all the socials where we drop plays. We really drop plays on Twitter and Action Network. So make sure you guys are following us so that way you can continue to cash in. All right, my friends. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys continue to show here on the channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the videos, guys. All right. And as always, dictate your fate, get to that cheddar, and I'll see y'all in tomorrow's video. Later, gang.